Hey everybody, it's Michael from Wahoo Comics here with another comic haul and speculation video where I talk about the books I've picked up over the past week and why I think they're good investments for you to consider. As usual, I've got a bunch of things I'm excited to show to you, and so let's get right to it. Well, first of all, I got a few books from the seller that I've been buying from over the past few weeks. If you've seen my videos, you know I've got a lot of awesome stuff for him. And these first two books are actually comic magazines. So I don't know how much they make these anymore. I don't really see them around, but especially back like in the 70s, I guess, they made these comic magazines, which are basically like a comic, but in a magazine format. So the size is different. I think they're often black and white. But this is one I'm really excited about getting. It's Marvel Preview 4, which is the first appearance of Star-Lord. Now, if you saw my very first video a few months ago, I was really excited then that I'd picked up Marvel Spotlight number 6, which was the first appearance of Star-Lord in a regular comic book. And that's a really great budget option if you're a Star-Lord fan and looking for one of his keys, to look for that one, Marvel Spotlight 6. But if you can pick it up, and I got all these at a great price, thankfully. This is Marvel Preview 4, his first appearance ever in media. And this, of course, is just a really beautiful cover. Even my wife looked at it, and she's not a comics fan, and was like, wow, that looks really nice. So I'm looking forward to getting it to CGC and displaying it. As you probably know, there's another Guardians of the Galaxy movie coming out in the next couple of years. And so this book certainly will continue to climb in value until then. Star-Lord, of course, is played by Chris Pratt, and is a popular character. And so it's a really good one. And these first few books are more on the higher end books, and then I'll get to some more budget-friendly options. But my second one is also a magazine, and that's this one, Savage Tales number 1. And so this is this cool Conan the Barbarian cover, but even more significantly, it's the first appearance of Man-Thing, who's this really interesting character. I really need to learn more about what he is, but he's the guardian of the nexus of all realities. And people burn if they're afraid when they get near him. He's got these powers, but the nexus of all realities is this idea. There's this multiverse, and they all converge at certain points called a nexus. And he's one of the guardians of the one that's on kind of the mainstream Earth. And so he's already a popular character, really interesting character. But recently in the MCU, there have been hints of more of a nexus present that's going to come out. So Scarlet Witch in the comics is considered to be a nexus being, and in WandaVision there was some Easter eggs that talked about the idea of a nexus. She's going to be in the next Doctor Strange movie, it seems, and of course that's called the Multiverse of Madness. And so and Loki now, the new show, is tying into the idea of multiverse and all this. So all this multiverse stuff makes it more likely the Nexus is going to become a big part of the MCU, which then might mean the introduction of the Man-Thing. And so anyway, it's a great book to have anyway, but especially if that happens, this book should really go up in value, and it already is a good value, one that will keep going up even despite that, I think. And the final book I'm going to show from that seller is this one, X-Men number 96. And so this is the first appearance of Moira McTaggart, which if you read the comic books, she's taken a much larger role over the past year or so, a little over a year, since Jonathan Hickman kind of rebooted that whole universe, the whole X-Men universe. And so she's a much more powerful individual than she used to be, and I think will be a big part of the comics going forward in their story. And of course, if you've been watching my videos, we know the X-Men are coming to the MCU at some point, and whenever they do, all these first appearances when they come in are going to grow in value whenever we see a Moira McTaggart in the MCU. But already this book is climbing in value and is a good one to get. All right, well, in addition to the books I got from him, and I got a few others, but I just wanted to show, I don't have time to show everything I got. I took a trip to the LCS this past weekend to pick up some comic supplies. I needed some bags and boards. The supply chain's been really broken because of COVID, and so it's been hard to get them, so I really needed some, and I was happy to finally pick up some. And while I was there, whenever I stop by, I make sure I look at the back issue bins, at least for a little bit. And I found a few things that I am super excited about. And man, I went at the exact right week because a couple of these books have really taken off, even just in the past week. And the first one, and the one that I'm most excited about, is this one, G.I. Joe number 21. And so this is the first appearance of Storm Shadow, who's always been one of my favorite characters and a lot of people's favorite characters. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. I loved them as a kid. Just ninjas were cool as a kid. And so I'd wanted this issue for a while. And this definitely has a little bit of wear to it. It's not near mint, but I still got it, and it's kind of on the border. Should I get it or not? Because I really love a near mint issue. But it's not a cheap issue. But even this week it became much less affordable. Recently, you might have seen there's a trailer that dropped for a new Snake Eyes movie, which Storm Shadow I think is going to be a part of. And so this book has really climbed into value, and so already I saw this week there were copies on eBay that were in much worse shape than this one, going for more than twice what I paid for it. So I was really happy to get in and get it when I did. And this book certainly will continue to rise in value, at least until that movie, and then might dip like most books do once the movie comes out, until it starts to steadily climb again. But I'm super excited. Again, just personally a big Storm Shadow fan, and I can now add that to my collection. And a couple other G.I. Joe books, G.I. Joe 37. I think I've shown this off before. This is like my fourth copy of this. Not only is there a Snake Eyes movie coming out, as I've talked about before, there's a Lady J Amazon live action series coming. I think it's live action series that's coming out. And this is the first appearance of Flint, who has always been connected to the Lady J character. They're romantic couple. And this is a great copy, and I am, anytime I can find this for a good price, I am buying it. And my strategy for a lot of these books is to buy multiple copies, let them climb in value, hold on to one for my personal collection, and then sell the others once they peak in value to help the hobby pay for itself. And so that's what I plan to do with these. I'll keep the highest grade copy, but then eventually sell off the others. Though not yet, because like I said, I think this is going to keep climbing in value. So really excited to pick that one up. And then one more G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe versus Transformers, number 1. And so this has got a really unique, interesting book. Obviously, it's the collision of these two universes. Both toy lines were owned by Hasbro, I think, back in the 80s. And so 80s nostalgia is starting to be in full effect. People like me who grew up watching these cartoons are now excited to start, have money to invest. And so, Thundercats number 1 is exploded in the last couple months. Recently, Master of the Universe started exploding. They've got a new series coming out, G.I. Joe. It's starting to take off. And Transformers, I think they're going to do more with that universe, of course. And so I think this, especially because this usually can be found like in a dollar bin type thing. I got this for $2. It's really a good spec to pick up that isn't going to cost you very much. Another book I've been on the lookout for, and really glad I got it there when I did, because again, it took off even just this week. It's on the top 10 of cover prices, most sold issues. Is this one, Hawkeye number 1. And so this is the first solo series of Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye role. So as you might know, Disney is also developing a Hawkeye show for Disney Plus that's going to have both Jeremy Renner and I think the girl's name is Haley Steinfeld, something like that. Is going to be the Kate Bishop character. And my guess is, I don't want to spoil anything with the Captain America if you haven't seen Winter Soldier too much. Probably most of you have if you're watching this. But there's transition in who kind of has the roles. That's part of what is happening. And I think that's going to happen, because versus the comics, Jeremy Renner is actually going to age in real life, so he can't play Clint Barton forever. And so then how are you going to hand off those roles? And so I think we're going to start looking to second generation actors and actresses like Kate Bishop. And so I was looking forward, and it's already, like I said, this week there's some YouTubers that talked about it on one of their videos, and that always drives up prices. But we're still over a year away from this series coming out, and so this book's just going to continue to climb in value, I think. So if you get the chance, you should look to pick it up. And I'm probably going to send this off to CGC and hope for a 9.8. We'll see. Another Hawkeye key. And same thing is number 8 of an earlier Hawkeye series, the Matt Fraction series, which I think came out in 2015. But this is the first appearance of a character called the Clown, the first cameo appearance. Issue 10 is his first full appearance, and he is a character that is confirmed for the Hawkeye series. And so I think both of those issues are ones to pick up. I got this at cover price, and if you can get either of those issues for anywhere near cover price, I think you want to jump on it now while you can, before it's too late, because I'm sure they're just going to keep climbing and climbing until we actually see them in the show. And the final book I got at my LCS was this one, Ghost Rider number 31. And this is the first full appearance of the Midnight Suns, which are basically like the supernatural Avengers. So there's a few characters that we know are coming to the MCU for sure. There's going to be a Blade movie. Ghost Rider has been announced to be in the Doctor Strange movie. And Moon Knight, who isn't part of this original Midnight Suns, but I think later joins the team. If you watch my videos, I'm huge on him. He's also a supernatural character that eventually joins this team. And so these supernatural characters are being introduced, and that's fueled a lot of speculation that eventually, just like Captain America movie, Iron Man movie, all led to the Avengers. Eventually there will be a Midnight Suns movie and property. And so right now, issue number 31 is really climbing in value, as well as issue number 28, which is, again, kind of like a cameo appearance. Either of those are really good to pick up, especially so you can get it like I did, right around cover price. They're already going for a lot more than that. So really glad to get this one. And then I got a few more books from another seller I found online that I first reached out to because I saw that he was selling this one. This is Avengers Arena number 1, and this contains like a ton of first appearances of pretty obscure characters. It's got like 6 first appearances, but they're all, or many of them are like younger versions of characters. So there's like Deathlocket, which is basically like a kid Deathlock. There's Kid Britain, which is like a kid Captain Britain, and the main characters in those universes, the main Deathlock still needs to be introduced. He was introduced in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they seem to be not counting that in the MCU anymore after Disney started making their own shows. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. But if you've seen my videos before, I'm big on buying issues that have multiple first appearances, because all it takes is for one of these to be put into a TV show or a movie, and the value of the book's going to take off. And so this is a good one that can still be found pretty cheap. It's grown a little bit in the past couple weeks as people have been talking about that, multiple first appearances. And again, it seems like a really big deal casting some of these younger characters like Kate Bishop. And so if you can find a good price on it, a good one to pick up. And while I was picking this up, I looked at the rest of the guy's listings and saw a couple other things that he was selling at a good price. First of all, I picked up, I'm not going to show them, but a few just amazing Spider-Man run fillers. I'm trying to, as you know, fill an Amazing Spider-Man run and getting closer and closer there every week. Still hundreds of issues off, but getting there. But then he also had, for I think it's about $1, G.I. Joe versus Transformers number 1. And so I was really excited to pick that up. And then one other book I got from him was this one, Iron Man 232. And so this is the last issue in the Armor Wars storyline. So if you know, again, Disney Plus is making a show called Armor Wars that's inspired by this storyline. And so, probably the best of those issues to get is the first in that storyline. I think it's 226, maybe, something like that. But I didn't get that one. I hope I can find it at a good price at some point. But I think this is the second best one to get because both is at the conclusion, but it also has this really classic cover, Barry Windsor Smith cover, that just looks super, super cool. And so if you can find this, like in a dollar bin or something like that, I think it's definitely worth speculating on, and I think it's going to climb in value simply because of this cover alone. But a really cool story with this, when I put in the order, I got my books, and this one wasn't in it, even though I'd ordered it. And so I sent the seller a message and was, didn't know. He was going to say, "Oh, I put it in there. I'm sorry. You must be mistaken." So you never know. But thankfully, he was a really cool guy. So he responded. He said, "Oh, I looked and you're right. It's still here at the house." And he said, "Hey, I'm going to refund you the money, and I'm just going to ship it to you for free." So man, that's obviously just really exciting. What great customer service. But yet the story gets even better, because after I put in that order, I looked through his listings again and realized, oh man, there's a book I had wanted. I would have gotten if I had noticed it the first time. I can't believe I missed it, but I had. I don't want to pay shipping again for it. But when he told me he's going to ship this book to me, I sent him a real quick message just thanking him for that, but saying, "Hey, you've got one other book I'd like to buy. Can I pick it up for me?" And he said, sure. So, and he was going to include it in that shipment with this. And it's another Hawkeye #1. And again, the timing was perfect on this. I got it right before people started talking about it. And I'll still be looking to pick these up anytime I can at a good price, and kind of doing the same thing with the G.I. Joe 37, looking to keep one and eventually at some point turn the rest over. But it's a really great, any Hawkeye keys, again, are good to get. And finally, I'm going to wrap up with my sleeper of the week, and it's actually a group of books. And I talked a couple of weeks ago about trying to pick these issues up, and I finally sealed the deal. And so the best of these is this one. And these are all similar. This is Marvel Tales 235. And so all of these are going to be Marvel Tales issues. And Marvel Tales, if you don't know, it's basically a reprint series of Amazing Spider-Man. And so, I guess around the 70s, in the 80s, Marvel reprinted Amazing Spider-Man because obviously he's a popular character, but people couldn't afford issue #1 or whatever issue anymore. So we reprinted some things, which usually, so for years, these things weren't worth anything. But what has happened recently is Todd McFarlane covers have become in big demand. And so all of these are Todd McFarlane covers. And this one, Spider-Man and the X-Men, is the one that's in most demand. Actually, last week it went for over $60 on eBay. And I got all of these for $1.50 each. And this is the most, they're all going for $10+. This is the biggest one. I put these all on eBay. Somebody actually, I put this one on for $55. I got an offer for $50 earlier today. So already this whole shipment is already going to pay for itself, and so I'm excited about this. And I'll just show these real quickly. 231, 230 with Dazzler, 229 Iceman, 228 with Angel. These aren't exactly in order. 224 Dr. Octopus, 223 another Doc Ock, 232 Dazzler again. 234 X-Men kind of in the shadows. 236, this is the second most valuable out of these issues. It's just Spider-Man with a lot of X-Men again. Always X-Men things are always good. 237 Colossus and Nightcrawler. 238 Juggernaut, and 239 the Beast. And so if you can find any of those issues, and there's a few other, he didn't have all that whole run, there's a couple others, but I thankfully had the most valuable ones. They're great books to pick up now, probably can be found in dollar bins, but they have just really taken off in value, just like that Marvel Age that I showed a couple videos ago. Look for them in dollar bins and pick up. Anytime you get a Todd McFarlane cover, it's a good investment. And so speaking of artists, I'm going to throw out this question before I put the video. I'm curious who your favorite artist is. So Todd McFarlane covers are really big right now. Are you a big Todd McFarlane fan, or who do you like? And actually, he was big in these Spider-Man runs. I would say I liked Eric Larson, who came after Todd McFarlane, even a little bit better than him. They both did Amazing Spider-Man. McFarlane was followed by Larson. Always been a big Eric Larson fan. He does Savage Dragon now. So he might be my favorite, but I'm curious to hear from you. What is your favorite artist? And just in general, what are some cool books you've picked up, or things you think we should be picking up if you haven't? So I'd love to hear from you in the comments about that, or anything else, any other comment. To wrap up the video, of course, if you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate if you do. It'd be a big help and keep me able to bring these videos to you hopefully every week. I'm getting pretty consistent with that. Like the video, all those things, of course, help. And thanks a lot for watching, and I look forward to sharing the books I get this week with you in a week. Take care.